The supermarket was unusually crowded that afternoon, buzzing with the chatter of shoppers and the clatter of carts, yet Officer Daniel Reyes felt something off the moment he stepped inside to grab a quick bottle of water. His eyes automatically scanned the space out of habit, trained by years of instinct and silent warnings. That was when he noticed a little girl near the cereal aisle, trembling slightly as she walked beside a man who seemed too stiff and too nervous to be apparent. The girl kept glancing around, her small fingers fidgeting anxiously, and then she made a subtle gesture, 3 taps on her thigh followed by a slow wave of her hand at waist level. Daniel froze for a second. He knew that signal. Every officer did. It was a silent rescue code taught in schools and safety programs, a plea for help without speaking. And this little girl had just used it while staring straight at him. Daniel quickly looked away as if he hadn't noticed, pretending to browse a shelf while discreetly observing the pair. The man gripped the cart tightly, occasionally placing his hand on the girl's shoulder in a way that looked more controlling than protective. She didn't flinch, but her eyes widened with fear every time he touched her. Daniel's heartbeat quickened. He needed to follow her without alerting the man, but he also had to be sure she was truly signaling distress. When she subtly repeated the motion, 3 taps, a hidden wave, and a short, shaky scratch to her own wrist, Daniel's doubt vanished. This wasn't a coincidence. Someone had taught her how to ask for help, and she was using everything she knew. He stepped to the side, pretending to type on his phone while activating his emergency channel, sending a silent alert to nearby officers. Meanwhile, he maneuvered his cart behind a family to mask his presence and began following them from a distance. The man led the girl through the aisles in odd patterns, not buying anything, not talking, just moving in circles as if waiting for something or someone. Daniel noticed the girl kept avoiding direct eye contact with the man but watched Daniel through quick, nervous glances. She was terrified, yet desperately trying not to show it. He knew he had to act quickly but carefully. One wrong step could escalate the situation dangerously. The pair turned into the frozen foods aisle, where the man suddenly grabbed the girl's wrist and whispered harshly into her ear. She winced but nodded obediently, her shoulders tightening. Daniel saw her slip 1 foot backward, almost as if testing whether she could run. She couldn't. The man was too close, too watchful, and his grip too tight. Daniel positioned himself near the opposite shelf, lifting a bag of vegetables to look inconspicuous while discreetly signaling a store employee to stay back. His backup was minutes away, but those few minutes felt like an eternity as he saw the girl's quiet panic rising. Suddenly, the man jerked the girl forward and started walking briskly toward the rear exit, bypassing the main checkout like someone trying to avoid being noticed. Daniel calmly but quickly followed, keeping his distance just enough to avoid suspicion. The girl looked back one more time, her eyes meeting Daniel's, and this time she made a different signal, pressing her thumb into her palm, a sign indicating immediate danger. Daniel's pulse spiked. This wasn't just a possible abduction. This was active threat. Whoever the man was, he wasn't planning to keep her in public much longer. Daniel moved faster now, weaving through shoppers as subtly as he could. When the man reached for the exit door, Daniel made his move. "Sir," he called out, voice sharp but controlled. The man stiffened. The girl froze. Daniel approached casually, as if conducting a routine check. "Are you two together?" he asked with a polite tone but eyes locked on the girl. Before the man could answer, the girl very slightly shook her head. The man noticed her movement and tightened his grip on her wrist. His jaw clenched. Daniel saw it. That was enough. His authority dropped the act. "Let go of her. Now." The man didn't comply. Instead, he tried to shove the door open and drag the girl out with him. Daniel lunged forward, grabbing the man's arm and forcing him away from her. The girl stumbled back, gasping, while Daniel fought to restrain the man who suddenly became aggressive, desperate, and violent. The supermarket erupted with screams. A shelf toppled as the struggle intensified, but Daniel held his ground, pinning the man's arm behind his back while shielding the girl with his own body. She hid behind him, shaking uncontrollably, her breath quick and ragged. Within seconds, 2 backup officers rushed through the entrance, helping Daniel secure the man. He continued resisting until he realized he was completely outnumbered, and then his fight crumbled into frantic muttering. The little girl stood frozen, watching with wide, terrified eyes as the officers handcuffed him and led him away. Daniel crouched down to her level, speaking softly, reassuring her that she was safe now. She finally broke into tears, collapsing into his arms, overwhelmed with relief after what must have been hours, or maybe days, of silent fear. As paramedics and investigators arrived, Daniel stayed close to the girl, learning that she had been reported missing 2 days earlier after being taken from outside her school by the man, someone she didn't know. She had remembered a school safety lesson about silent rescue signals and had been waiting for the right adult to notice. She told Daniel she almost lost hope until she saw his uniform and recognized her chance. Daniel listened patiently, heart heavy yet grateful that she was brave enough to signal him. Later, as the girl was reunited with her devastated but relieved parents, Daniel stood aside, watching the emotional embrace. The mother thanked him through tears, gripping his hands as though she would never let go. Daniel only nodded, humbled. He knew that he had acted quickly, but the real hero was the little girl who used her secret signal with incredible courage. As he stepped out of the supermarket into the fading daylight, he couldn't help but think how something so small, a silent gesture, a child's bravery, a moment of alertness, had prevented a tragedy and turned an ordinary shopping trip into a life-saving mission.